HBCUs, which stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. These colleges and universities were created to give opportunity and chances to people of color who were interested in furthering their education during the segregation period. Despite proving that HBCUs can produce NFL talent just like the PWIs, they found themselves getting robbed in the 2024 draft. This isn't just a recent phenomenon, it's part of a historical pattern that reflects the biases against HBCUs. HBCUs have been vital in the development of black athletes. Icons like Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, and Doug Williams left a mark on the NFL. We also had recent years where HBCU players were drafted late in the NFL draft and performed on the highest level that we've seen. Despite those guys' success, HBCUs have seen systemic challenges in gaining recognition and opportunities in the NFL. One major factor is lack of exposure. As you see, a lot of HBCUs do not play games in a big market and are only subject to local networks. As a result of that, often HBCU players, even if they're stars, they fly under the radar. Also, there's a bias when it comes to scouting evaluations. We always talk about the level of competition not being there. Me being a former football player myself, I understand that higher levels you have more talent. But as we've seen in the past, a lot of great players have came from smaller schools. Just because you're not on the level of the highest competition doesn't mean you can't compete. Due to the stereotype of playing at a lower level of competition, you will see a lot of players drafted late in the NFL draft or not even drafted at all, despite their skills and accomplishments on the field. But even though they face these challenges, HBCU athletes continue to excel at the professional level. And the main reason I created this channel was to give these players who are overlooked an opportunity to be seen. And with that being said, today I'm going to cover some of the top NFL prospects that we might see in next year's NFL draft. First up, we have Malachi Bailey from Alcorn State. Bailey is a top defensive lineman. He's a strong candidate for the SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. In his 2 seasons with the Braves, Bailey has racked up impressive stats. He accumulated 74 total tackles, 27 tackles for loss, 18.5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and a forced fumble. Standing at 6'2" and 260 pounds, he is the perfect size for an NFL defensive lineman. Next, let's talk about Jada Byers from Virginia Union. Byers had a rough 2023 season. Despite missing some games, he recorded 1,186 rushing yards and scored 16 rushing touchdowns. Byers standing at just 5'7". He may be considered undersized, but his speed and versatility makes him a valuable asset. His playmaking ability on offense and as a return specialist could make him a game changer for any NFL team. Now moving on to Kenny Gallop from Howard, a defensive back who decided to return for another year. Now, some people say Gallop would have been a NFL draft pick if he entered the draft, as he was instrumental in Howard's success in 2023, contributing 72 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. His leadership on and off the field makes him a standout prospect. With instincts like a seasoned veteran, Gallop's maturity could greatly benefit any NFL team. And next up, we have Casey Hawthorne, who's a Bison as well. Standing at 5'11", 195 pounds, he is known for his versatility. During his career, he racked up 1,275 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns, 580 rushing yards, and 11 rushing touchdowns. Now, you talking about an offensive threat? He's that guy. Hawthorne's willingness to play multiple roles on his team shows you that he's easily coachable, which should put him on the radar for many NFL teams. Now we're going to turn our attention to Eric Hunter, who is from Morgan State. He was a key player on the Bears defense, recording 75 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. His explosive playmaking ability and versatility makes him a standout prospect. Now on to Daniel Richardson from FAMU, who is the only quarterback on this list. Although he hasn't played a snap at an HBCU yet, his past performances at Central Michigan and Florida Atlantic indicates a promising future. Richardson showed exceptional vision, decision making, and throwing ability while playing at those 2 schools, and especially in his performance in 2022 against Oklahoma State, where he threw for 424 yards and 4 touchdowns. Since he already played on the FBS level, he should be able to prove that he's above the competition that he's going to face this year and put up some pretty good numbers. Lastly, we have Elijah Williams from Morgan State. He finished the 2023 season with 35 total tackles, 6.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, which was a slight drop off from his 2022 season, where he had 52 total tackles and 8.5 sacks. His explosive strength and speed off the line, coupled with his discipline and making plays, makes him a tough opponent for anyone standing in front of him. If he can repeat the 2022 season, he has a great chance at becoming another player that will be drafted in the 2025 draft. So there you have it, a closer look at some of the potential NFL prospects that we have in this year's upcoming season for the HBCUs. While each player brings their own unique talents and strengths, it's clear that the defensive line is where it's at. And that's all I got for today. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Hit that like button, that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. And stay tuned for more updates.